Hi, I'm Mark, and this is Let's Vibe, the channel all about crystals and our feelings. Now, today I want to talk about a very special stone. This is not associated with the current season that we're in, Sagittarius. I will do a video for Sagittarius season, but this video and this crystal is actually much more connected with um, or tying back into the energies of this past Scorpio season. That was an intense Scorpio season. I know it was for at least some people, definitely myself. Maybe not everybody, but yeah, there was a lot of Pluto aspects going on during Scorpio season, and I have Pluto in the 4th house, and so it's, that really, what that means for me personally is Pluto is intimately connected with my family life, the realm of the family, the home, childhood, and even things like ancestry, extended family. So all that's to say, it was an emotional season, and transformative, which is exactly what Scorpio is all about. Deep transformation, deep waters, exploring those depths, even though it can be pretty scary. And that is where this crystal comes in, and this stone is called Eclipse stone. Now, it may remind you of a stone, a much more well-known and more popular stone called bumblebee jasper. And I think bumblebee jasper does come from the same place in Indonesia that Eclipse stone comes from. This comes from Indonesia. So it's a black jasper with orpiment. Orpiment is a toxic mineral. It's orange, yellowish orange, different shades of orange and yellow. It can look really pretty by itself, like orpiment crystals, but it's very toxic. I think it's arsenic. I might be wrong there, but I think it's made of arsenic. So, but being inside a polished stone with black jasper, that toxicity is prevented from exposure. It prevents the exposure of those toxic elements. Okay, so anyway, the only reason I know about Eclipse stone in the first place is from Judy Hall's Crystal Bible. I think it's volume 3. But I was flipping through that volume of the Crystal Bible, and I happened upon a page with this picture of a very intriguing looking black stone with this fairly bright yellow center. the yellow of that piece was brighter than the one that I have, but it's still that same ornament. But anyway, I was really intrigued by this, so I read the description, and it's Judy Hall describes Eclipse stone as being closely associated with the divine feminine, specifically the crone aspect of the divine feminine, which is the old wise woman. And so it's also connected with the goddess Hecate, the Greek goddess of magic and witchcraft. And so it is very divine feminine and also very heavy. This stone has a really heavy, deep earth energy. But it's a stone of transformation. It's a stone of accessing deep wisdom, really going deep within to get in touch with those things that have been long forgotten. Good things, and well, yeah, good, positive things that can be brought out into the light and basically like reintegrated into yourself. But obviously those things, deep within might not look or feel good at first glance. So I found this, I didn't find this in a store. I've never seen Eclipse stone in the store or in a crystal store, the store. I found this by accident, and it was mislabeled. So I was browsing through a crystal vendor's supply of crystals on Etsy, and I was just browsing through their those thumbnail photos of the crystals, and this vendor was selling a lot of bumblebee jasper. And so I'm scrolling through the bumblebee jaspers, and then I see this one all of a sudden, and it's labeled something like unusual bumblebee jasper. And I look at it and I'm like, that's an Eclipse stone. It's black jasper with ornament. And it's really stands out from bumblebee jasper because bumblebee jasper has much lighter and much brighter shades and has light, bumblebee jasper often has a lot of light colored banding, and it really looks more like the bumblebee in a sense, and is typically a brighter yellow. But this, I knew this was Eclipse stone just because it lacked that light colored banding, and it kind of looks like an eclipse. It's, if you look at it closely, if you can see, it's like kind of orangish, tannish colored, it looks like clouds, and underneath is a kind of dark yellow coloration, and it kind of, it's like the well, it kind of gives that eclipse-like imagery. So yeah, and you know, speaking of eclipses, eclipses are really, in general, they're very strong energetic events, and they are, you know, just like with this stone, and um, they are moments of transformation. Eclipses are often talked about as like, um, they can be like a portal, they can be like um, jumping timelines, or, you know, shifting to a higher vibration, some kind of change. And they're often associated with abrupt change as well. Um, so eclipses are powerful events, and this stone really um, embodies or encapsulates that energy of very intense, um, deep inner transformation. It's funny because when I first thought of talking about this stone, I immediately just said no, really only because this stone just feels uncomfortable. It's not soothing. It's very grounding and very protective, but it's not something you pick up or hold or carry to relax or to feel protected. It really does have a strong, like, churning, disruptive kind of energy. So it really has that eclipse vibration to it. Now, I don't know how my mind got onto the subject, but last night I suddenly was remembering a scene from The Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring. And it's the scene where Lady Galadriel, the elf queen, when it's that nighttime scene when Frodo goes down to that divining pool that Lady Galadriel is standing by. He goes down to that pool and offers her offers her the ring. He just opens his hand and shows her the ring. And she's kind of ready for it, almost. She's not completely shocked or surprised by what's happening, but she definitely is taking notice of the fact that this one ring, the most powerful ring in the world, in Middle Earth, is being freely offered to her. And I've always loved that scene because she, like, goes into this darker self, this darker shadow aspect of herself. And she goes into it only for really a few seconds. But it's such a powerful scene, and it's so awesome. I love that scene. She turns like this dark silver color, and it's basically like the shadow divine feminine being, you know, on display. And it's just awesome. But it's funny because although I always loved that scene, I never really understood what she meant by "I've passed the test." Because after she experiences that shadow aspect of herself, you know, where she's experiencing that lust for power and that temptation that the ring is giving her, and she's really she's feeling that all-consuming dark power. Shoot, where was I going? Oh, after she experiences that, she says, "I've passed the test," and I never understood what she meant by that. I remember asking myself, because I watched that movie, and I've read the books, but I watched the movies many times over the years, and I remember asking myself, and just asking out loud, like, what does she mean by that? What test? Like, I understood that the ring was a temptation, but I wasn't making the connections with a test. Like, I found it strange. Like, where did this test come from? Well, last night I had this thought that, that scene really paints a perfect picture of what it's like to do shadow work. A lot of people, a lot of spiritual mentors and tarot readers and the like, a lot of people are talking about shadow work, and I talk about shadow work too. And I thought, that scene really is kind of exactly what shadow work is like, but it's happening on the inside. The fantasy aspect, of course, is that, this is happening on the outside like that. She's transforming into this evil queen in a dark silver light. That, and also the fantasy aspect is this physical thing, the ring. That she's reaching out to the ring, but she doesn't touch it. And I'll go back to that because that's important. But anyway, it's a lot like shadow work, because when you go inside and you simply decide to face and sit with whatever feelings or thoughts are, whatever feelings or thoughts you keep hidden or that you try to avoid because it hurts too much or because it causes too much fear or anxiety, whatever thoughts or feelings that you think, if I go there, I will blank. If I go there, I will have a breakdown. If I go there, within, if I go to those feelings, those thoughts that are hurting, I'll never stop crying, or I'll spin downward into depression, and it'll be out of control. When you decide to put yourself in the same space as one of those thoughts or feelings that gives you fear or, triggers a lot of wounding, and you allow the whole process is, or the whole point really of the shadow work is to allow for that space for yourself and that thought or feeling, and then allow yourself, your body, your mind, to feel the feeling that is brought up or triggered by that memory. Because we're really, we're talking about memories here. Shadow work is dealing with a lot of memories and a lot of things learned over the course of many years, and but it is also intimately tied into our present day realities, and that's why it's so important and so helpful to do shadow work, because it really does have present moment positive repercussions in your life. It might not be something immediately or easily visible, but you will feel it. And it all goes back to just allowing yourself to feel whatever is there. And it can be scary, because you start thinking, you know, what if I never stop feeling sad? What if I just can't stop crying because there's so much sadness? What if I get so angry that I lose all control and I hurt, you know, someone I love, or I, you know, cause some kind of damage. All kinds of anxious, worrisome thoughts like that can go through your mind, but there's always an end point. There's always a limit with these emotions. They are never infinite. Sadness is not infinite. Anger is not infinite. And I mean, we can say the same thing about the more positive emotions, like happiness and contentment, or you know, none of these emotions and none of these feelings are in infinite quantities within you. There might be a lot, and it might feel like it goes on and on forever, but just speaking from my own experience, I can say there is a point when the crying has come to an end, or you no longer feel that need to cry, or there's a point at which the emotion, the feeling is just, it's gone. And it's gone simply because you allowed it to come out. And you're allowing it to come out in a constructive, positive way, by simply feeling it, or expressing it in something creative, or so it's obviously a very involved, like very sensitive and very deep process. And that's why I always mention the necessity of having some kind of therapist or mentor or trusted confidant, because it's not easy at all. It's and it really, it requires perseverance. It requires commitment to, and I think for myself, I'm committed to bettering myself, believing that there is something more, something better, that my dream or dreams are out there. That's definitely a deeply held belief that kept me going during my darkest periods. And so with Lady Galadriel, you know, that act of reaching her hand out and then experiencing this darkness come over her, the shadow aspect come over her. I just can't think of a better illustration or analogy for the experience of shadow work. But the important part is she doesn't touch the ring. That's a very significant part. Her hand gets close to it, but she doesn't touch the ring. And so she's proven to herself that she's stronger than whatever temptation this one ring could offer. And that was the test. That was her shadow work. And that was the test. And since it's the one ring, the most powerful of all, representing the greatest temptation of all, and she just overcame it, she's passed the test. That's why she's saying that, and that's why she then says she's gonna pass into the lands. I don't remember how she says it. Something poetic, but she basically says she can move on. She can go off into the higher realm, basically, is what she says at the end. And again, that is so perfect for shadow work, because once you've allowed yourself to feel whatever feeling is hiding in that dark space within, and it passes, because it will pass. Once it passes, you are on another level. You've just lightened your load by however many units, you know. Not sure how to measure that, but you've lightened your load. You have lightened your energetic body. You've released cords. You've released hooks. You've released heavy binds, heavy ties. And it's worth it. It really is worth facing and feeling the fear, or the anger, or the sadness, or the hurt. It's worth just allowing yourself to feel it within a safe space with healthy support around you. It's worth it, because it really does. It really does produce results. I mean, sure, maybe nobody around you can notice what improved about you or in your life because of your shadow work. That is totally inconsequential. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if people can see what you've changed, or whether it's something visible or physical or practical. This is, you know, we're talking about healing. We're talking about feeling more peace, more love, more just more goodness, more joy. And I mean, that stuff really is worth it. It's gold. It's gold. So, all that being said, I thought of a song that I think fits this stone and the energies of it quite well, and it is by Evanescence. I mean, the energy of Amy Lee's energy and her songwriting, it easily fits that dark, divine feminine energy. Um, and now the song that I chose is called Lose Control, of course. It's from their second album, The Open Door. And I just think that song is fitting, just because that's the fear that we have when we're faced with the shadow, or we're, doing our shadow work. There's often that fear of losing control. Like, I'm gonna lose my mind, I'm gonna lose my emotional stability, I'm gonna freak out, or, have a breakdown. But you won't, because you are strong enough. And a stone like this really instills that vibration of deep and powerful inner strength. And that's why this stone is helpful for that kind of self-work. So I will include a link in the description box below to Lose Control by Evanescence. And as always, leave comments or questions down below. I love to hear from you. And once again, thank you so much for vibing with me.